I served with the 101st Airborne back in 2011 during Operation Enduring Freedom. That was the year I was stationed at a remote forward operating base in eastern Afghanistan, FOB Garmabad. Never heard of it? You're not alone. Most people haven't. Hell, most maps don't even list it anymore. Just a speck in the mountains, buried in terrain that even goats avoid. But the locals knew it. They called it Chashmi Siyah, the Black Eye. Said it was cursed. Said it was built over something the Russians disturbed during their war. We thought it was all just superstition at first. Just old war stories from a broken land. We should have listened. Our team was small, a recon unit mostly, rotated in for 6-week stints. We monitored nearby valleys, scouted potential IED routes, kept an eye out for Taliban supply chains. It was quiet work most of the time, boring even. But the quiet didn't last. It started on our second night. I remember I was half asleep in my cot, boots still on when I heard it. Faint at first, like wind howling across the rocks. But then it grew louder, more distinct, and unmistakably human. Screaming, not shouting, not calling for help. It was raw, blood-curdling screaming, like someone was being torn apart. It echoed from somewhere behind the base, up along the mountain ridge we called Sector Echo. Now, this place had an old Soviet bunker embedded in the rock wall. You could barely see it unless you were right up on it, half buried under sand and rubble. Big rusted steel door, no handles, just old Cyrillic graffiti scrawled across the front. We were told not to go near it. Command said it had been sealed since the 80s. And yet, that's where the sound was coming from. We radioed it in. Command came back with the usual. Negative contact in that sector. No local presence confirmed. Maintain perimeter. So that's what we did. The next night? Same thing. 2:30 a.m. on the dot. That same scream. Same pitch. Same rhythm. Like someone reliving their death over and over again. A few of the guys started sleeping with their earplugs in. Others laughed it off, said it was just the wind. But one of us, Miller, he wasn't laughing. He was our comms guy. Quiet dude. Always reading. Always thinking. He started acting strange after the second night. Snapping at people. Mumbling to himself. Kept writing things down in a little green notebook. Numbers. Times. Diagrams. Scribbles I couldn't make sense of. On the 5th night, Miller snapped. I found him sitting on the ammo crate near the Humvees, loading a magazine, eyes wide open like he hadn't slept in days. I asked him what he was doing. He said, "I need to know what's in that bunker." I told him to relax, that we'd report it again, maybe send out a team in daylight. But he wasn't listening. He just muttered, "They're in there. They're still alive." That's when I knew he was slipping. But orders are orders, and we couldn't just let him go out alone. So myself and Henderson, our squad leader, grabbed our rifles and followed him out through the wire. It was dead silent out there. No wind, no bugs, just a heavy stillness, like the air itself didn't want to move. We hiked up the ridge toward the Soviet bunker. Miller was leading us, walking like he was being pulled forward by something we couldn't see. When we got to the door, the screaming stopped. I mean, dead stop. 1 second it was there, howling through the rocks, and the next, silence. That's when I noticed something. The chain around the bunker door. It had been moved. Not broken, not cut, just shifted. Like someone had slid it off and then put it back, lazily. I could see the links were cleaner in one spot, like they'd been handled recently. And then, 3 knocks. Loud. Slow. From inside the bunker. We froze. Miller took a step forward and whispered, "Did you hear that?" I nodded. Henderson whispered, "We're leaving. Now." But Miller didn't move. He stared at the door like he was in a trance. Then, from the darkness behind us, another knock. This one echoed from the rocks on our left, and then another from the right. I turned in a full circle and realized we weren't alone. There were no shapes, no footsteps, but the sound, the knocking, it was circling us, playing with us. We backed away. Miller was the last to turn. He stared at that bunker for a long second, then finally followed. Back at base, Miller went silent. Wouldn't talk, wouldn't eat. Just laid in his bunk, eyes wide, muttering, "They're in there. They're still in there." 2 nights later, he disappeared. We found his boots placed neatly at the edge of the ridge. No footprints, no sign of struggle. Just gone. Like the mountains swallowed him whole. We sent out a full search. Nothing. Then that night, the screaming returned. Only this time, it wasn't random. It was his voice, Miller's, screaming the same way we'd heard before. Same time, same place, same unbearable agony. None of us wanted to believe it, but we all heard it. Some of the guys even claimed they saw movement near the bunker after dark, shadows against the rocks. One guy swore he saw a figure standing next to the door, tapping the steel with one hand. We made it through the rest of the rotation, but barely. No one slept much. By the time we rotated out, we looked like ghosts. I never saw Miller again. He was marked MIA, presumed dead. But I can't help but wonder, what if he's not? What if whatever's in that bunker took him? I've read about those old Soviet experiments, about places the Russians built and then sealed up without explanation. They never left signs, never gave warnings. They just left. And we built on top of their silence. Years later, I had a dream. I was back at Garmabad, standing in front of that door. And from behind it, I heard my own voice screaming. If this story creeped you out, please take a moment to subscribe the channel. My name's Corporal Thomas Griggs. I was a radio operator in the U.S. Army during the Vietnam War. Drafted in '69, green as hell, barely 19. I didn't know jack about jungle warfare, about firefights, about death. But I learned quick. We were stationed at a fire base near the Laotian border. Dense jungle, thick air, nights so dark you couldn't see your hand in front of your face. We called it Fire Base Echo Hill, though I doubt you'll find that name in any official record. Most guys just called it the Mouth, because things went in and didn't come back out. This happened a few weeks into my deployment. We had just rotated to a new AO. Our unit had taken over from another platoon that had been pulled out early. Something about psych fatigue, they told us. Command didn't give details, but the guys in camp were twitchy, kept to themselves, wouldn't talk about what they'd seen. The only one who said anything was this old, wiry first sergeant who'd been in country way too long. He cornered me the night we arrived, looked me dead in the eye, and said, "If you hear someone calling your name in the jungle, don't answer." I thought he was just messing with the new guy. I wish he was. My job was to maintain long-range comms, tall antenna, big field pack radio, constant check-ins. We used a lot of shortwave in that terrain. On good nights, I could pick up chatter from units dozens of clicks out. But a few nights in, things got weird. I was on night watch, sitting outside my tent, fiddling with the radio dial to kill time. At exactly 0100 hours, a signal broke through. It wasn't on any known frequency. The voice was faint. Male, repeating a series of numbers, over and over. 7, 1, 9, 0. Repeat. 7, 1, 9. No unit designation, no call sign, just static in that sequence. I logged it, reported it, and shrugged it off as interference. Next night, same thing. Same time, same frequency. Only this time, the voice said my name. Griggs. Griggs. 7190. I froze. Didn't even blink. I asked over the line who it was. No response, just static. Then the numbers. Then my name again. Same voice. raspy, like it was being pushed through broken speakers. I ran it by my CO the next morning. He brushed it off, said it was probably VC PSYOP garbage, even though we both knew the Vietnamese didn't have our channels cracked. But I knew what I heard, and it didn't stop. Every night, 0100, like clockwork. The same whisper, the same numbers, same damn voice. Then one night, we lost contact with Alpha Squad. They were out on recon, about 4 clicks west. Last radio check was at 2100. Nothing after that. We tried for hours, no reply. Next morning, a search team found what was left of them. Their camp was torn apart. Not in the usual way. No shell casings, no signs of a firefight, just shreds. Equipment scattered like leaves. Blood, yes, but no bodies, except one. Their RTO, radio man, was sitting upright against a tree, still in full gear, radio pack intact, eyes wide open, mouth gaping like he was still screaming. Only thing was, his throat had been torn out, from the inside. His finger was jammed on the transmit button. The radio was broadcasting a signal when they found him. Guess what frequency? 7190. Command locked it down fast. Took the body, took the radio. Didn't let anyone talk about it. Told us it was a tiger attack. But we knew better. That night, I stayed up in the comms tent, wired tight with anxiety. At 0058, the static started. 0059, the signal came through. Griggs, it's not just you now. Then, screaming. Not loud, not chaotic. One voice, crying out, the same way that dead RTO must have screamed before he died, and underneath it, the same numbers, over and over. 7, 1, 9, 0. I ripped the headphones off and slammed the radio off the table. I was done. Told my CO I wanted off radio duty. Said I'd do anything. Patrol, latrine duty, hell, I'd rather carry ammo in the rain. Just not that radio again. A few nights later, another RTO took over. We found him in the morning, sitting upright. Same position, same expression. Mouth open, eyes staring. No visible wounds. But the radio was playing, and you already know what frequency. We lost 4 more guys before command finally pulled our unit back. Firebase Echo Hill was marked for temporary closure, but none of us ever went back. Nobody wanted to. I looked into it years later. That same frequency, 7190, has been flagged in other conflicts. Not just Vietnam, Gulf War, Iraq, even Bosnia. Always on unregistered frequencies, always with the same pattern. A voice, a name, a number, then silence. I still have my old field radio. It doesn't work anymore, but sometimes I stare at the dial. I think about turning it on, just to see. But I don't, because I know what I'll hear. My name, and a number. 7, 1, 9, 0. My name is Lieutenant Marcus Hale. I served with the Canadian Armed Forces in the mid-90s, peacekeeping in places like Bosnia, Croatia, and Rwanda. This happened in the winter of 1995 at a remote communication station we called Station 13. I won't name the country. You'll understand why. The station was a crumbling Soviet-era broadcast tower in the mountains, reportedly used during the war for black propaganda and intercepted transmissions. Our unit was tasked with securing and holding it for 3 weeks until a civilian team arrived. From the start, something felt wrong. The air inside was colder than the snowy wind outside. We found burned-out transmitters still hooked to live generators, walls covered in maps with scratched-out coordinates, and a locked cabinet of unlabeled VHS tapes, each marked only with dates. Then we found the logbook, hundreds of entries, written by someone called Tech M. Early pages read like technical logs, but later ones grew erratic, filled with strange phrases. Frequency bleeds. Waking. They hear me. The final entry chilled us. The signal is no longer coming from us. We brushed it off as madness until the 5th night. At 0100 hours, we started receiving a signal. No broadcast from our end, just static. Then a girl's voice. "Hello? I'm cold." A child. Fluent English. We thought it was a prank. No trace, no source. Broadcast lines weren't even powered. The voice returned nightly, sometimes crying, sometimes repeating numbers. 13, 13. Then laughter. By the 10th night, no one was sleeping. My men saw shadows, heard tapping. One soldier, Jonas, stood outside at 2 a.m., shirtless, staring at the sky. He said, "She needs someone to answer." The next night, we found him dead, hanged in the server room. No note, just blood and scratched numbers on the wall. 1, 3, 0. We wanted to pull out. Command said stay. No threat. Hold position. The signal worsened. The voice grew clearer. Then she started saying our names. Full names. "Lieutenant Marcus Hale. Why won't you answer me?" We shut off all power, pulled batteries from radios. Still, the signal came. Through dead earpieces, blank screens, even the vents. "Don't leave me. I'm still inside." By the 3rd week, half my squad was sick. Fevers, headaches, nosebleeds. Our medic blamed stress. But we knew. On our final night, a whiteout blizzard hit. At exactly 1 a.m., the tower lit up. Dead generators came alive. Screens powered on. VHS tapes ejected themselves. Monitors displayed black and white footage of blank staring faces. Over it all, the girl's voice. "You shouldn't have come here." Then I blacked out. I woke up alone in the snow, 400 meters from the tower. My rifle and helmet were gone. Watch frozen at 1:30 a.m. When I returned, the tower was dead quiet. No trace of my unit. No gear. No weapons. Just dust. Except the logbook, still on the floor. A new entry, written in an unfamiliar hand. "They hear you now. Welcome to Station 13. Search and rescue found me the next morning. I'd been missing for 3 days. No sign of the others. The official report blamed an unknown group, but there was no enemy, just the signal. I haven't touched a radio since, but sometimes driving late at night, static creeps in through my car stereo, and I hear it. A little girl's voice, saying my name, asking me to answer." If you enjoyed these stories, please take a moment to subscribe the channel. Your support matters a lot.